America likes to work with the dictators. This is a statement not of somebody from India, but a former CIA officer, John Kiriakou. Jai Hind, my name is Navjot Singh, and I welcome you to another episode of the Spy Master series. See, Pakistan, which has been, we have been talking about how Pakistan has been involved in spreading the cross-border terrorism from across the border into India, particularly in Jammu and Kashmir. We have been talking about various sanctions we need to put forward to expose the nefarious designs of the enemy on the other side of the border, particularly the ISI, the brainchild behind all these intrigues. The recent interview by Mr. John Kiriakou, ex-CIA official, he has kind of vindicated India's stand. But I have to reiterate this fact that we don't need a vindication from international forums for something that we have been dealing with for quite some time. So talking about this interview where Mr. Kiriakou has categorically talked about how Pakistan has been in hand in glove with Americans. Now post 2000 9/11 attacks, there was a lot of pressure on the Pakistani establishment to hunt down Al-Qaeda as well as the mastermind Osama bin Laden. And America pumped in millions of dollars to that effect, creating a lot of strengthening its intelligence capabilities in that region. But for that, वो सब करने के लिए अमेरिका को free hand चाहिए था. America needed a free hand in Pakistan. So it wanted to nurture its contacts, its assets, and for that, the most important person in command, Pervez Musharraf, General Musharraf, who was in command at that time, he was kind of bought over by the Americans by sending in millions of dollars through military aid, through development aid, and all of various channels of funneling in money to Pakistan. Now what happens? Now America was in a desperate need. It required the Pakistanis to help them in hunting down the Al-Qaeda, the perpetrators, the alleged perpetrators of the 9/11 Twin Tower attacks. To compensate for that, as a bargain, Americans maintained a strategic distance about what was happening across the border in India, sponsored by Pakistan, considering the launch pads that were established in Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir of the LET, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and Jaish-e-Mohammed. So Americans did maintain a strategic distance, not to antagonize the Pakistanis at that time, because they wanted full cooperation of the ISI establishment there. Post the Parliament House attack, when Indian Parliament was attacked by Pakistani-backed militants, terrorists, so to say, at that time also there was a lot of rallying by the American secretaries, American officials on both sides not to go for a full-scale nuclear war. In that regard also, उस संदर्भ में भी ये समझने की ज़रूरत है कि Pakistan has been used as building up its nuclear arsenal, how Pakistan has been building its nuclear arsenal, and America has supported them to a great extent. When talking about Mr. Dr. A.Q. Khan, who was the main champion for the Pakistani nuclear program, the Americans were well within their powers. They had the wherewithal to take him down, but it was on the insistence of the Saudis, who maintained relatively better relations with the Americans at that time, more so to for maintaining their oil supplies and all of that. So they wanted the Americans not to take down this gentleman, this nuclear scientists. And there have been other theories also how the Pakistani nuclear arsenal is under the control of the Americans. Americans do take control of the Pakistani nuclear arsenal. And the recent nuclear bluff that Pakistan has been calling out for time and time again, it has been called out by the Indian establishments. The security, intelligence, and the political establishments has not been falling, playing coy to these, what you say, these blackmail tactics by the Pakistani establishment. In this regard, it is definitely it is pertinent to mention that Pakistan, which in its own accord cannot win over in a full-scale war, traditional conventional warfare I'm talking about, that is why it engages with proxy these proxy tools it uses through the mercenary groups, the Jaish and Lashkar-e-Toiba networks. So these are a few things that need to be looked into. Apart from that, another news that has been making the news about the alleged assassination plot of Prime Minister Modi. I think there has to be a little bit of sense of maturity when dealing with such news, because something that deals with the Prime Minister of the country speculating on the security and the such foiled assassination plot doesn't bode well for our strategic community. People have been talking about how he was traveling with Mr. Putin in his personal car for quite some time, and the assassination of the American FBI officer, Special Forces officer in Bangladesh, several hotels, not one but various other officials were also taken out. That is something somewhere being linked to the alleged assassination plot. I would rather say that those in the media fraternity and otherwise should exercise due restraint when dealing with such sensitive matters, because the security of the Prime Minister is not to be speculated about, and whatever needs to be done, whatever is required to be done, is being done by the authorities who are responsible of taking care of such sensitive matters. And when it comes to these spy espionage networks being run by the ISI, in fact within the ISI you will have several lobbies. Some of them may be pro-counterterrorism, but a big bulk of that is involved in festering and inculcating this terror factory within India. So this is all you need to understand, and don't miss the wood for the trees. Try to read between the lines, try to understand whatever is happening around from a very sensible lens. You should not engage into brinkmanship or any sort of sensationalism with respect to sensitive news like this. And Prime Minister Modi's caravan being under attack, maybe some people are saying that this is a CIA plot to take down Mr. Modi, and the American officials were also involved. How SVR and the Russian intelligence kind of helped, MSS involvement is being speculated about. Speculations have no end, but one thing that needs to be understood is we have to refrain from such speculative things, and we should make sure that we don't compromise on the security. So that's all. We try to demystify a few things, but one thing you also should understand, that we don't need a validation of some former intelligence officials of foreign countries to understand the problems that we are facing. We are facing Pak-bred terror within India, and we have been dealing with it for the past 3.5 decades. And we are dealing with it, we are capable enough to deal with it. We don't need a validation or vindication from someone across the border. And dealing Pakistan in the language that it understands best has to be done at the strategic level, intelligence level, and at the administrative level, at the political level. The things are being taken out, and these are something that should not be speculated about. That's all, friends. We'll see you in another lecture of the Spy Master series. Until then, goodbye. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.